This is the back end of your website. So this is where you can do all the setting up of certain things and creating new posts and adding the content to your website and do the styling. So we're just going to do some initial styling. I'm just going to go to the home page. So to visit the home page, you can just click here. And you see there is nothing on here yet because you haven't done anything. When you install WordPress, it creates a default simple hello world post just to show you what it would look like. And it also puts this information in this area, and this is called a sidebar. So this particular theme, so WordPress is clever. It creates a background. It's got the core program that runs in the background, and you don't need to understand how it works. You know, I don't really fully understand how it works. It's some complicated coding in the background to make it look really nice and professional, but we don't need to know that. That's the whole point of WordPress. WordPress is something we can just use, but you can add sort of styling themes to this, which will completely change how your website looks on the front end. The core stuff in the background is all the same, but you have extra, they're called child themes, which sort of fit on top, almost like a hat or like the makeup or whatever, to make your website look beautiful. So we're going to go back now and add a styling theme. So here, you know, when you're logged into your website, you get this bar along here. So when you're not logged in, so if you're just an ordinary person visiting your website, they won't see this black bar here, but you do because you're logged in. You can do some quick things like add a new post or add media or add a page. And if you've got comments or anything like that in your website, it shows you. But here, you hover over your name and then you've got these options. So we'll just click dashboard to go back into the dashboard of our site. And this is really easy to get to grips with. So if it's a bit overwhelming at the moment, don't worry about it. You'll be absolutely fine. Again, don't worry about any of this. This is just giving you some quick updates of the latest stuff on your site. You know, this is this new post that WordPress has automatically created, and here's just some general news. So this is pulled in from the internet about WordPress. So, you know, we can hide these, you know, hide the clutter. We don't need to know that. And you see, as soon as we've got one post, one page, and one comment, these are all pretend ones that WordPress has put in for us. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove these default posts and pages and comments that have been put in for us. When you see here, it says we're on WordPress version 4.1.1 and it's running the 2015 theme. So that's a styling theme at the moment, but we'll change that. So first off, I'm going to go into posts. So we've got all these menu links down the side. So we've got posts. So I'm going to click on that. And there we go, there's that hello world post in there. So if you create lots of posts on your site, which is basically the content on your site, we'll show a big list down here of all of different posts, but this is just the default one, so we're just going to click bin. So if you hover over it, you get these extra options here. So I can click bin, or I could check it and then go bulk actions, move to bin, and I'll do that this time. Then we have to go apply. There we go. So now we've got a bin tab and it says one in bin. So I'm going to go that and I'm going to clear the bin. So it does that in case you delete some stuff, but you may want to bring it back later, but we don't here. So I'm going to go permanently delete. Okay, and now we'll do the same for pages. And the comment that we had on the site was actually associated to this post. So now we deleted this post, that comment's gone as well. But if it didn't, we would go into comments and delete it. Now we're going to go pages and do exactly the same thing. This time I'm going to go bin down here. And we'll click on here and get rid of it completely. There it is, it's gone. So now if you click up here and visit our page, our website front end, you see we've got nothing here. It says ready to publish your first post, get started. So basically WordPress makes it as easy as possible for you to get going and add content and style your website. It's giving you all these quick links. We'll just go back into our dashboard and we'll apply a theme now. So we've got posts and we've got media if you want to add new pictures or videos, and we've got pages. And we'll get into the difference between posts and pages later, but quickly, pages are kind of the more static content on your website, so the stuff that won't change very much. So you may have an About Us page which describes what your website's about. You may have a Contact Us page with a contact form on it. So these are the kind of general, normal sort of static bits of content on your site that don't change. and posts are more, they call it dynamic. So when you add new stuff to your site regularly, you can add a new post about the top 3 gas barbecues less than £100 or something like that. So this would be a post, and you could write this post, add all your content, all your images, and then you would publish this post on your website, and it would show up in various places in your website where posts show up dynamically. So on your home page, you might have a list of new recent posts, whereas pages are separate and they're not involved in this. But we'll see how this works in practice in a minute. So we have posts, we have pages, we have comments. So if people can actually comment on your posts. So if you write this article about the top 3 gas barbecues, then people may comment saying, oh yeah, I bought so and so barbecue from this list, it was great, so and so, or I might have questions or something like that. So you can choose to turn comment on or off, so you don't have to let people comment, but if you do, it will show up here. Then we have appearances, and this is where you can set up the look and feel of your site. So we've got themes. So now we'll go ahead and set a new theme to our website. So I'm going to click themes, and it comes up with this theme, sort of what's already installed on your site. So by default, WordPress has installed these 3 themes, so 2013, 2014 and 2015. And these are actually ones that are developed by the WordPress team themselves. And this is the one that's installed at the moment. So you see it says active. And if you want to activate one of these ones, you could just simply hover over it, click active, or we could get a live preview of what it would look like before we do that. So if I click this, it opens up this sort of customization screen, and this is what it would look like. So it doesn't really look great at the moment because we've got nothing on it, but you can see it already looks different to the last one. It's got this big black border around it. I'm going to close that because I'm not going to do that. But what I want to do is I want to add a new one. So I'm going to click add new, and there are thousands upon thousands of themes, some free. So these are all free themes here. So all I've done is clicked add, and we've got featured, popular, latest, or you can actually search for one. So you can see we've got all these themes, so you can go down and look and find ones that you want. Or if you have your own theme, if there are things called premium or professional themes that you actually pay for, and I actually used a professional paid for theme on my website, and it was from a company called StudioPress, and the themes are called the Genesis themes, and you can check these out if you want, but it's okay, absolutely fine to get started with a free theme. And I actually suggest you do that now because it just makes things a lot easier to get started. And when you're starting out, you're probably reluctant to spend money, and that's absolutely fine. And it took me a while before I was confident to spend money, but we'll find a free theme, and I know one called Radiate. We'll just search for it here, see if you can find it, and there it is here. And this is pretty similar to my cyclerunrow.co.uk website, which we looked at in video number 2, the actual layout. So we've got a big image here, and we've got 3 sort of quick image links to different posts. So I want to set up our site on this. I'm just going to install this. So again, this is another fantastic feature of WordPress. If you're going to set up a website, basically, in my opinion, there's no other options. So let's install this now, and we're going to activate it. So all these files that we're installing here, they're going onto a web host server. So that's the whole point of a web host. The only reason we're seeing all this now, and we've got this website live on a website, is because we've set up our web host with DreamHost. So everything we install now goes onto their servers or computers. We've got a special area on their computers, and we can access that, and we can access all these files if we chose to do so, but we don't need to now. So you see it's brought us back to our main theme area, and we've got this new one now called Radiate, and it's active. We can customize it, or we can do some other things. I'll just click customize now so we can have a look, but probably again it won't look great because there's nothing on there. Oh, but it looks a lot nicer. So it's come with this default big header. So we'll change that eventually to something related to barbecues. Maybe a nice picture of people enjoying a, outdoor barbecue with a nice particular design. But you see already the design's changing. I really love this design. Big and clear. It's got the sidebar down the side, which basically this content here will appear on every single page you visit. But we probably don't want this on the home page. We want it to be laid out a bit different, but we can do that. But you can see it's starting to shape up, so I'll close that. So in appearance still on this left hand side, we've got themes. That customized takes us to the page we were just on, but then we've got these things called widgets, I just mentioned before. And basically widgets are really clever things in WordPress, and they're basically the specific areas on different pages. So I'll go back to customize here. We can have a look. So we have widget areas. So this here is a widget area, which is a sidebar down the side of the page. So we can drag certain bits of contents in here and it will show up in these widget areas. So by default this one's got a search box, recent comments, and archive. So if we had lots of posts, it would show up here, and then this is some data here. And also sometimes there's areas up here that are widget areas, or this bit here might be a widget area, or there might be big widget areas on this home page. We'll have a look now to see if there is. So we go into widgets, and actually this one only has a sidebar widget with all of this stuff in it, so you can just drag these out. I'm just clicking and dragging. So I've left the search in there, and I might want to drag a text widget in there. I'll give it a title of okay, and then I'll just copy that and paste it in here twice. I'll save that, and then we'll go and have a look at our website, and we'll just to show you how this shows up. So there it is. Hello, this is a text widget. So what you could do here, if you wanted to make your website more personal and wanted your picture on it for whatever reason, you could have a title here saying about me. You could have a big picture of yourself and a bit of text and stuff like that. So that's what's great about these widgets. And this is a footer area at the bottom. Have you seen this? And it says proudly powered by WordPress theme Radiate. And we'll have a look, but you probably can't get rid of this. And that's one of the disadvantages of having a free theme, because there's nothing free in life, you know, really. And the downside of using this free theme is you've got this link here back to the company that makes this free theme, which is fair enough. You know, if that's all you have to do, that's no problem at all. I'll click this and I'll go to the company that makes this theme. We're going to go back. So basically, it doesn't even open up in a new window, a new tab. It just opens up over the top of your site. But that's what you get with a free theme, and it's absolutely fine to get started with that. You don't really, not many people actually go down to the bottom and click these things anyway, so you don't have to worry about it, especially if you've got loads of nice content here. So we go back to our dashboard, and you see now it says at a glance. It tells us we're running this Radiate theme. So click appearance again, and we've got menus, so you can set up these menu bars. So if you just have a look here, you see on this screenshot here, there's home, sample page, and categorize. So that's like a menu, so we can add that, menus. Header, which is this top area of your website, you can change that. Background, which is the background of this web page, so it's sort of a grey color here. That's the background. And we've got editor. I'm going to click on it, but we're going to stay away from this at the moment, or if we do touch it, we're not going to touch it very much. But this actually lets you have access to the core files, and I strongly recommend you never touch anything that ends in .php, because if you change something in these folders and it's not right, so if you miss even just a full stop or a quotation mark or a bracket, or you leave a space when you shouldn't, it could freeze your website and you can't access it. And there is a way to get it back, and you can access your website core files via FTP or via the host's servers, but really don't touch that, and there's no need to touch that. But one thing you can touch is at the very bottom here we have styles, and we've got this style sheet, so style.css, and actually by default it's opened up this style.css, and this is basically all the styling that's applied to this website. This is all written for us, so this is all come from the child theme. You see we've got the theme radiate here, so this sets, you know, how big the font is, the colour of the font, how different bits of the page are laid out relative to each other. So that's all in here, so we don't need to touch that, but we could potentially add our own styling here to do extra things within the website, or we could find where it talks about what fonts you use, and we could change the font type, or we could change the font size within here if we wanted to, but we probably don't need to. So again, we won't touch that, but I just want to show you what it is. We have plugins here, and again we definitely will come back to this, but basically I'll click on it. Whereas you can have themes to style your website, you can have lots of different themes. There's also things called plugins, which basically add functions and features to your site. So you could install a plugin that adds those little social icons to posts, so you know, like or retweet or tweet this page or pin this image. This could be done via plugins, or you could have plugins that, you know, add an image gallery to your website or anything like that. So there's again thousands and thousands of plugins, some free and some paid for, but we'll get into that later. And by default WordPress gives you 2, and this one's just a bit of fun. This is, I think it just adds a couple of words or quotes to your page just to brighten your day up, but I'm not going to activate that because well, I will activate it just to have a look at it. So some plugins just are fun things, and then some aren't. So you see here now it's added this quote here. I'm going to deactivate that. And this is a spam filter, so if you do have comments or sign up boxes or whatever on your website, this kind of, if you activate this and sign up for this, again it's free, it will limit the amount of spam comments you have on your site, but we're just going to leave that for now. We've got users, so this is if you had several people on your website that, you know, people can access it and add content and do stuff for you, or you're running a website with somebody else, you could have different users here, but me, it's just got me and I'm an administrator. You can set different roles, but this is where you can change, you know, your email address or your username or whatever. So actually I'm going to go into this and I'm going to change my nickname to Barbecue King, and I'll select it from down here. So now you see it says Barbecue King, and also when I do new posts it'll say it's posted by Barbecue King. Right, now let's move on to tools. This is something that you probably rarely use, to be honest. Sometimes when you install new plugins, the new plugins show up in this tools. So you might have a, I don't know, a plugin that automatically backs up your website content in case something major goes wrong. There might be something in here, but we'll leave that for now. And settings. There are some things in settings, so I'll click on this. And there are a couple of things that we should set up. So we're in general settings now. And here's our site title, Best Barbecues. You might want to change this to, I might just say change it to Barbecues UK, just to match my URL or my domain name up here. And there's a tagline, just another WordPress site. And that's default, it puts that in. We want to change this, so we're going to put barbecue reviews and buyer's guides. I might change that again, but again, put something relevant to what your website is about. This is my website address and other details in here we can leave default. So make sure you have a good site title and a good tagline. It's not vitally important, but it is, you know, good to have something in there, because sometimes Google, when it searches your site, it pulls in your tagline and you don't want it to just say just another WordPress website. So we're just going to leave everything else but you can change here your email address for admin purposes if you want emails from about your site, but we're just going to leave ours. So I'm going to save these changes. And there we go. I'll just quickly run through these other settings. Permalinks is an important one, but we're going to get that in a second. So let's quickly click on writing. I'm not going to change anything here, but there are a few things that you can change. And if you learn more about how content is published on the internet, you can put in some addresses here to automatically send your content out to different places. But by default, it uses this ping-o-matic, which basically every time you create new content and you post a new page on your site, it automatically gets sent out, so it gets indexed in Google. So we just leave this. Reading. Again, just some general information. So how many blog posts you want to show on your homepage or on your blog pages. We've got 10 at a time before you have to click next. And then syndication feeds, so RSS feeds and things like that. So again, if you don't know what these are, don't worry about it. It's not important. Just leave these as default. In fact, just leave all of this as default for now. And when you're developing your site, in some cases, you might want to tell search engines not to index your site just yet. Don't rank them in Google. Don't start collecting information about your site because you're just setting it up. But again, your site gets re-indexed and found all of the time, so it's best just to leave this alone. So again, I haven't changed anything there, but if you do change something, make sure you click Save Changes. Discussion. Again, we're not going to change anything here, but you've just got some default actions here, which you can either uncheck or check these checkboxes if you want to keep them on. So allow people to comment and post in articles. The comment author must fill out his name and email. Only registered users can comment and all these kind of things. So we're just going to leave that as default. And again, media. You set up the size of your images when you load them in. So if you're going to have thumbnails, these are the size they're going to be. If you're going to have medium-sized images, maybe these size, large images. And how you organize it again. Just leave these as default. It's absolutely fine. Permalinks. So a permalink is this structure of your web address. So if we create a page and we call the page About Us, our web address would be www.barbecuesuk.com/about us, okay, at the top here. But by default, that doesn't happen. By default, the page just gets assigned a number. So this first page we create will have ID number 1. So instead of being About Us, it will be barbecuesuk.com/?p=1. And if you create another one, it'll be $p=2, which isn't great for one, visually how it looks, is for general people coming to your site, but also, again, for Google and search engines, how they rank and index your site. If you've got something like p=2, it doesn't really let these search engines and people know what this page is about. But if it's called /about us or about our company, or if you've got a post and it's best gas barbecues, then it's much easier for people to know and for Google and search engines to know what your page is about. So you will, when someone searches for best gas barbecues, you've got more chance of Google finding your page and showing it to people in the search results if you've got a good URL structure. So I don't know why by default this one is checked, but what you want to do is you want to come down, click this radio button here next to post name. So now it's going to be your website name / the title of the post, and that's what we want, okay? And that's important, and that's something you need to get done straight away before you create content. So save changes. There you go. So there you go. That's just a quick general overview of all these options down here. But I'll show you now. I'll start creating some content on this website, and you'll see things I use and things that you'll probably use quite a lot of the time. Quite a lot of these features you won't use at all, and that's absolutely fine, and you don't need to use them unless you actually get to that stage. But what we will use a lot of are posts, pages, and you may go to plugins and to create new plugins, and that's probably about it.